Okay, experimenting with a slightly different position of my laptop, so hopefully the image will be a little more clear. But we're trying to figure out the boundaries for the watershed for streams A, B, and C, and hopefully you were able to see those streams in there. They're just little dotted lines, and they run right through the V's in the contour lines. And so let's start with C over here. The watershed boundary for C would have to fall somewhere along this ridge. Right here you can see this flat open space that then extends out like this. So water falling to the west of that ridge is going to flow down. Any water flowing over here is going to flow this way. It's a little hard to see. And over here it's going to flow this way. So the watershed boundary is going to run right down through the middle there. And then likewise, we've got a ridge over here that we could sort of connect up with. And then it just runs along the ridge at the top of the hill like that. So that's the watershed boundary for C. For B, it's going to run along this ridge, it looks like, down about like this, and then likewise up and over here. And for A, where's it going to go for A? It looks like A is a much bigger watershed. The watershed boundary for A is going to be running along this ridge down here somewhere, because any water that falls at this point is going to be making its way down the hill over to here. So I'd probably draw it something like up here. And it looks like we're going to have to go off the map a little bit, but it would follow, looks like it would follow the road essentially, and over to here. I'm not sure I did that right. Man, it looks pretty close. Did I do that right? Yeah, it might swerve a little bit over here, but anyway, we get the point. So there's the watershed for A, the watershed for B, and the watershed for C. And if we wanted to think about the watershed now of the entire stream, let's say, including down to here, right? Now we would think about these not as separate watersheds, but as part of this same stream, right? So now we've got a stream with a single watershed. Let's see if I can get a different color. That runs, I don't know, something along the lines of this, right? It runs up to here. It follows the edges of these watersheds along. Runs down like this. And then, who knows, goes something over to here. So that would be the watershed for the entire conjoined area. And you can keep stepping out and looking at watersheds on greater and greater scales until you get to continental-wide watersheds. So, for example, the water that flows down the Mississippi River into the Gulf of Mexico is water that's fallen anywhere from on the west side of the Appalachians through the Midwest, across the plains, and all the way up into the Rocky Mountains. Water that falls anywhere between those two mountain ranges, basically the Rockies and the Appalachians, funnels into small streams, which funnel into bigger streams, which funnel into rivers, which go to the Ohio or the Missouri or the whatever, the Arkansas. They're eventually taken to the Mississippi and then funneled down to the Gulf of Mexico. So that would be a very, very large watershed. These are watersheds at a much smaller scale.